I'm gonna try not to crash out too much throughout this video. Keyword, try. So with that being said, what the fuck? Yesterday was a pretty normal day, and at some point during the day, I jumped into X. Just for maybe a couple of minutes, I was scrolling down, and I remember like barely noticing this image of Grace from Resident Evil 9. And my mind, I didn't even read the title, I didn't fully look at the image, I just skimmed through it and my mind just thought, oh, some AI slob of Grace. Then I closed Twitter and I went on to record some footage for Battlefield 6 because there is some new content on. After that, I went to YouTube and I saw Luke Stevens' video about the new DLSS 5. And then I saw the image again and I immediately thought, wait, what I saw was real? So yes, in case you've been living under a rock, at least, or away from X, which kudos to you, yesterday Nvidia revealed DLSS 5. During the GTC keynote, CEO Jensen Huang revealed DLSS 5. He, I believe, called it the ChatGPT moment in computer graphics. Now, before I go through it, I just want to be completely clear so you understand what I think about it. I think it looks like utter dog shit. Why would you do it to make it like this? Why Grace's face in that image that is everywhere looks like it's AI generated? I'm sure some smartass is going to tell, oh, everything is generated. It's a video game. You know what I mean. Because, to be fair, this is one of the least favorable ones, but my God, why does it look like that? Seriously, this is what would come out if I grab the first image, put it into Grok, and tell it to make her prettier, and he will spew out the second image. It looks like a cheap AI slop beauty filter on Instagram. They say it doesn't change anything from the textures or the model. Again, there are other examples where maybe I can believe that, but in this one, are you kidding me? You're seriously telling me that is exactly the same? Because I don't believe it. I've been trying to record this several times, but I keep crashing out. So give me a second just to get it off my chest. I think this is terrible. Because even on the images that look better, we'll look at them later, it still has that cheap AI generated look. Seriously. Now, okay, I am not an AI hater, okay? Because people are very sensitive with AI these days, and you see a lot of people that at the mere mention of AI or any AI tools, they completely lose their minds. And they try to cancel whoever did it. That is insane behavior, okay? But there is a lot of people like that. I don't hate AI. I'm not thrilled with the way AI is being implemented for the general public. There are things you could be doing better than just to make cheap generated image and video and a glorified chatbot. But I do think AI has good applications. Even ChatGPT or any other LLM, take your pick, has uses sometimes. So I'm not completely against AI. But when it's used to generate images, I see those images and I cannot unsee them. And now, with DLSS 5, it looks like that. To me, it looks fake. But when I'm playing a game, unless it looks like shit, I'm never thinking, oh, how fake this shit looks. No, I'm playing a video game. My mind already knows that. But when I see these, I immediately think it looks fake as hell. Because it says that it's trying to achieve photorealism. I don't know if I'm crazy, but I don't think it does. I mean, sure, the light makes it look... How could I describe it? It's realistically fake. Because it's trying to make it look more realistic, but in the process, it makes her look plasticky and cheap. Okay. I said I was gonna try not to crash out. Okay, so stop for a second. Let's try looking at this in a more objective manner. Okay, so this is the Nvidia article that they released for DLSS 5. Now, as I mentioned, Nvidia today unveiled Nvidia DLSS 5. the company's most significant breakthrough in computer graphics since the debut of real-time ray tracing in 2018. We'll see. DLSS 5 introduces a real-time neural rendering model that infuses pixel with photoreal lighting and materials, bridging the divide between rendering and reality. DLSS 5 empowers game developers to deliver a new level of photoreal computer graphics previously only achieved on Hollywood visual effects. That's how this article starts. In case you don't know, okay, just in case, what is Nvidia DLSS? Deep Learning Supersampling was released in 2018, what essentially is a performance-focused upscaler. So essentially, what it does is your GPU renders the image, the frame, at a lower resolution, and then DLSS grabs the image and essentially stretches it to a higher resolution, while at the same time using AI to sharpen the image to make it look like the resolution that you're trying to achieve. Okay? First iterations, while impressive, you could notice very much a lot of artifacts, ghosting, and a lot of things. But it did achieve what it set out to do. It increased performance. That has continuously improved until the latest version, which is DLSS 4.5, which is mighty impressive. You can barely notice any ghosting or artifacts. They're still there if you know where to look, but in very particular situations, it is very good. On a personal level, from the Nvidia technologies they have released, Reflex, FrameGen, and DLSS. DLSS is by far my favorite and one of the most widely used because it's amazing. It's essentially free performance. It is always advertised like that, and it has actually delivered that. So that's what DLSS is. This is DLSS LOP. Now, I'm sure DLSS 5 still does what DLSS 4.5 does, but this completely changes what DLSS is. You have a branding of a product, of a software product that does something, and now it does something completely different. I'm sure, again, that it does what the other version does, but just feels like they're jumping into the name of the branding because it's more popular and people are usually positive about it, unlike something like frame generation, which is a lot more divisive. Either way, let's move on. And this is another thing. DLSS 5 will be supported by industry's biggest publisher and the game developers, including Bethesda, Capcom, Hotter Studios, NetEase, NCSoft, S-Game, Tencent, Ubisoft, and Warner Brothers Games. If for a second when you saw that, you thought that the studios would not sign off on this, they've already have. And here have some examples of Resident Evil Requiem. Of course, the one we already saw. Okay, let's try to be fair. Ignore the model, because it looks like shit. Ignore the model. Let's see the rest of the image. If we take out the model, which looks extremely uncanny, from the picture, everything else, because it's a very overcast day, it really looks a lot more realistic. It looks a lot more like a day like that, a lot more gray with a lot more light, because depending on the hour of the day, you're going to get a lot of light coming out of it. It looks more realistic. But in this particular case of this section of Resident Evil 9, I want to mention something. At what point realism gets in the way of the game's feeling? Because, again, ignore the model, don't look at the model, just look at the background. Because there is a lot more shadow, it's a lot darker. The lights are a lot more yellow. The light is less white, which is the light you will get in a day like this. It gives a more oppressive feeling, which again works in favor of a game like this, a horror game. However, when you turn DLSS 5 on, it looks, yes, more real, but it also looks less oppressive. Now, they say that studios are going to have full control on how they apply it. Now, the second image, we're going to be completely fair. It looks orders of magnitude better than the first. So this is the regular one, and we turn the DLSS 5. It looks better. It looks better than the previous one. This time, at least, the features of her face remain unchanged. So in this image, maybe I can believe that you're not touching anything but the light. I still get that uncanny feeling with it. The next image, we have Leon. That's not DLSS. That's with DLSS LOP. This one, I would say, is the one that looks better. And if we are gonna look into the details, the light, particularly on his hair, it looks very good. However, when you look at the face and the light, I still don't think it looks real. I think it looks like there is a studio light and a filler light right behind him. I don't feel like it's in a video game. I feel like he's in a studio taking a picture. Like he's modeling for a clothing brand. Anyway. Ah, yes, Starfield. Starfield has... I hate it. Absolutely hate it. Once again, it looks like AI-generated slop. Let's be honest, Bethesda has never been good with faces. They've always looked, on every single game, that's the creation engine, they look extremely uncanny. Okay, they've always had. But at least, they look like a game. This, again, looks like an AI-generated image. And I would need to see the rest of the scene, but I would argue that in the model, the light looks wrong. I don't think it looks more realistic. Same with this image. You have these two guys. We're gonna get that out of the way for a second. I've already been watching them for a lit. Well, I'm not a big fan of the face models because, well, again, Bethesda, but... And look at the background. In my opinion, the background looks better. But as I told you in the first one, it gets rid of the darker part of the room. Yes, if you had more realistic lighting, maybe it would look better like this. But just because it has more realistic light, it doesn't mean it looks better in the context of the game. Yeah, the next one is crazy. This one. I would argue that less so, but still. This one is awful. Ah, Howard's Legacy. Yes, we have Howard's Legacy. This one hurts. Are you ready? You know, I saw Luke's video on it. Luke Stevens' video on it. And he says that your guy that should be 15 or 14, 15, 16, I don't know. Now it looks like 45. I totally see it. Jesus Christ. And there is another thing. There is clearly light on both sides, right? That's with the shadow in the middle. You have a yellowish light on this side, and then you have the slightly white light on this side. This side, in my opinion, looks a little bit better. The light, not the face, the light. But this side, once again, it looks like, now it looks like there is a studio light. Anyway, I don't want to stay too long on that point. This is the third image. Now, this is one of the few that I think looks the best. And this is the Zora tech demo from Nvidia. And I'll be honest, this one looks great. Especially, look here. Yeah. This one looks a lot better. This one, though... Again, backgrounds and objects, I think, look much, much better. That is impressive. I'll be honest, it is impressive, but it's not good with characters. Again, I feel like it's like you steal their soul. It's like, has a soul? Oh, you took it. Soul? Soulless. Soul? Soulless. Look at the shadows in here. So it is a very impressive technology. I'll give them that. But it makes your games look like shit. The characters specifically. Now, Bethesda were very excited. Todd Howard made its keynote or his talk. He was very excited about the technology and yada yada yada. But a few hours later, they backpedal. So, in my opinion, they've ruined their DLSS brand. DLSS was great at doing something specific. Now you have also making it do light adjustments to make it more realistic. Well, the only saving grace is that because apparently it's pretty demanding, we're not going to see it fully implemented by replacing the other models for any time soon. Because if what they said is true about that they need two of their most powerful GPUs to run, well, maybe for a couple of years you don't have to use it if you don't like it. But if this gets mass adoption, then it's going to be either on or off. And if you need the upscaler, you're pretty much screwed. I wish they could have put in like a new software, but I'm sure they needed the DLSS branding to make it stick better. Anyway, I don't know. I don't like it. I think it's terrible. So let's talk about it for a second, because I've seen more people than I thought I would defending this. I believe the majority is pretty much against it. They think it looks like shit. But there is a lot of people defending it. Like, oh, but they said that the companies have control of it. Okay, listen, Nvidia can come out and say that the sky is blue. I'm still gonna walk outside to double check. This is the same that when digital games starting normalizing and the company said, oh, we're gonna be able to save money by not having a physical edition, and that saving will be transferred to the players, to the consumers. How about you go into the PlayStation Store and tell me how much Ghost of Yotei is? And then go to your local GameStop and tell me if you can find it cheaper. And now they're telling you the companies are going to have full control, and it's going to be completely in line with their artistic vision. Yeah. Let me check if the sky is blue. Okay. Give me a second. Allow me to put my tinfoil hat on just for a minute. There is something that I thought when I was making this video. Think about it. If you turn on DLSS slop and it looks like this, what is stopping the studios, the big ones mostly, simply using it as a crutch? Because DLSS, as it is right now and as it started, while amazing technology, it had a very annoying and troublesome side effect. Because it was so good and you could get quite a lot of performance by upscaling the images, studios started doing less and less optimization on their games because, well, if you can turn on the DLSS, it's gonna run fine. So screw it, which has led to a bunch of games that run like shit, or that straight up won't run properly without DLSS. I would say that one of the most egregious examples of this is Monster Hunter Wilds. If you tried to play it on anything that didn't have 12 gigs of VRAM, it ran like shit, it stuttered like hell, and if you lowered the graphics, honestly, the the textures were so bad at lower resolutions, at lower settings, that it looked like you were rendering at 480p. It was insane. Even after I upgraded my GPU to a RTX 5070 Ti, that's a 16 gig GPU, and I tried Wilds, it would still stutter. That's how poorly optimized that game is. And that is with the DLSS you have. Now, you're going to have a DLSS version that also improves the light and makes characters or models that maybe don't look that good, maybe it makes them look better. So, let me put it this way. Why would a studio, AAA studios, that's one thing you need to understand about the video game industry, but mostly the AAA side of it. There is nothing AAA gaming studios like more than just money. Sure, they're companies and many of them are publicly traded, so yeah, of course they like money. But they like money to a crazy degree. Like, every time they release a video game, they need it to get all the money. All the money. And if it doesn't, they shut it down in 3 weeks. But there's one thing they like more than money. And that is actually saving money that they thought they're going to have to spend. So if you tell the CEO of Ubisoft or of Capcom that if you grab a poorly designed character, like maybe done quickly, and you apply DLSS 5 on it, it's going to look a lot better, what's their incentive to hire good artists? Why would they spend their money on 10 very good character designers and artists if they can just get 3 cheap artists that maybe are not so good to do a bunch of models and then simply slap DLSS on top of it and it will all magically look better? Of course, that's, again, tinfoil hat. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but you never know. The bigger the company, the more money they're going to want to save. And they usually do it with things they shouldn't, like art and optimization. So anyway, we'll see. You never know with these kind of companies. Now, in realistic terms, as I think, again, this is just pulling out of Bethesda's ass, it is a very early iteration of it, which, again, like all AI shit that we see, this is the worst it's going to look. It's going to keep improving, but they start to look the same. You get Starfield and you put it next to the Resident Evil ones, and they start to look more similar. With 2 completely different engines and 2 completely different art styles. And another thing that people are saying, that this goes against the artist's direction. And I'm going to be honest, while the CEOs may sign up on this and they may be happy because they see the potential savings they're going to have, I don't think for a second that the actual artist that create the characters, that design the characters or the environments are very happy with this. I don't know. This is, again, this video was never to find a solution or this was just to get some catharsis on it, because when I saw it, I lost my fucking shit. And I just needed to talk to, well, the microphone with you guys. So, thank you for listening. This is crazy. Bottom line, I think it's not good. Will it improve? Most likely, but same as Luke said in his video, this is what we have now. This is what they chose to show us. So I'm assuming that at this point, this is what it is, and it's not good. Maybe in a year or 2, they show it and it is a lot better, and they don't tell you that it doesn't change anything when you clearly can see that the picture, that her face looks different. That or I'm going crazy. But, and I mean, Nvidia, come on. Don't pee on my back and tell me it's raining, because I can tell it's warm. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining me. What are your thoughts on DLSS Lob, on the new the new model? Do you like it? Do you think it's better? Maybe you have a more nuanced take. Maybe you like parts of it, but others, I mean, like I said, I like what it's doing to the light and the background, but not to the characters. And honestly, sometimes I think more realistic light can be an actual detriment for the intent of the scene of the game. Well, anyway, let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. If you're not subscribed, I would really appreciate it. Really helps. And you can leave a like if you like the video. If you didn't, thank you anyway for making it to this point if you're listening. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.